Cowboys Nation, hold on to your hats. We've got insider info on two massive moves that could reshape Dallas's defense overnight. We're talking about not one, but two former All-Pros potentially headed to Big D. A pass-rushing nightmare and a shutdown corner that could turn this team into instant Super Bowl contenders. Jerry Jones is cooking up something big, and you won't believe who might be wearing the star next season. Stay tuned, because this news could break the internet. Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Dallas Cowboys Fan, your ultimate destination for all things America's team. Whether you bleed blue and silver or are just starting to catch Cowboys fever, this is the place. If you are a die-hard fan, please make sure to subscribe for more latest news and updates of your favorite team. All right, let's get right into it. The Dallas Cowboys have been making waves in the NFL rumor mill lately. And today, we're going to break down two massive potential moves that could send shockwaves through the league. We're talking about not one, but TW of former All-Pros who might be suiting up in the silver and blue next season. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, your name. We've heard this kind of talk before. But trust me, folks, this time it's different. We've got some solid sources and a whole lot of circumstantial evidence that suggests these moves might actually happen. So let's break it down, piece by piece. First up, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Cowboys' cap space situation. As we all know, Jerry Jones and the front office have been doing some financial gymnastics lately to free up some room. They've restructured contracts, made some tough cuts, and even convinced a few players to take pay cuts for the good of the team. According to overthecap.com, the Cowboys currently have about $15 million in cap space. Now, that might not seem like a lot when we're talking about bringing in some big-name talent, but here's where it gets interesting. Our sources tell us that the Cowboys are working on a few more moves behind the scenes that could free up an additional $25 million. If they can pull that off, we're looking at potentially $40 million to work with. And let me tell you, that's more than enough to make some serious noise in the free agent market. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Who are these two former All-Pros that could be headed to Dallas? Well, buckle up, Cowboys fans, because this is where things get really exciting. That's right, folks. The four-time Pro Bowler and two-time first-team All-Pro edge rusher could be on his way to Dallas. Now, I know what you're thinking, but your name, Jones, is under contract with the Raiders, and you'd be right. For now. Here's the deal. Our sources in Las Vegas are telling us that the Raiders are seriously considering releasing Jones as a post-June 1 cut. This would save them a significant amount of cap space and allow them to focus on rebuilding with younger talent. If Jones hits the open market, you can bet that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys will be first in line with a contract offer. And here's why this move makes so much sense for Dallas. Pass rush upgrade. We all know the Cowboys' defense took a step back last season, especially in terms of pressuring the quarterback. Adding a proven sack artist like Chandler Jones would immediately boost our pass rush and take some pressure off of Micah Parsons. Veteran leadership. At 33 years old, Jones brings a wealth of experience and leadership to a relatively young defensive unit. He's been to the mountaintop, winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and that kind of championship pedigree is invaluable. Scheme fit. New defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer loves to get creative with his pass rush, and Jones' versatility would allow him to move all over the formation, creating mismatches and confusion for opposing offenses. Now I can already hear some of you saying, but your name, Jones, is coming off a down year with the Raiders. And you're not wrong. But let's look at the bigger picture here. Jones has been one of the most consistent pass rushers in the NFL over the past decade. His 2022 season with the Raiders was more of an anomaly than a trend. Those are the kind of numbers that can change the entire complexion of a defense. And in Dan Quinn's aggressive scheme, paired up with talents like Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence? That's a recipe for quarterback nightmares. Here's the scoop. Our sources in Indianapolis are telling us that the Colts are in full rebuild mode. They're looking to get younger across the board, and that includes the secondary. While Gilmore had a solid season in 2022, he'll be 33 when the 2023 season kicks off, and the Colts might be looking to move on. Now, unlike Jones, Gilmore is still under contract. But here's where things get interesting. The Colts could look to trade Gilmore to recoup some value. And guess who has a history of making splashy trades for defensive backs? That's right, our very own Jerry Jones. Remember the trades for Roy Williams and Adam Pacman-Jones? Jerry isn't afraid to pull the trigger on a big move if he thinks it can put the team over the top. And let me tell you, adding Stefon Gilmore to this secondary could do just that. Here's why this move makes so much sense for the Cowboys. Shutdown corner, even at 32, Gilmore is still playing at an elite level. He allowed just a 79.1 passer rating when targeted last season, which ranked 14th among all corners with at least 300 coverage snaps. Mentorship: the Cowboys have a young, talented secondary with players like Trayvon Diggs and Darren Bland. Adding a veteran like Gilmore could help accelerate their development and turn this secondary into one of the best in the league. Scheme versatility: Gilmore has excelled in both man and zone coverage throughout his career. This versatility would give Mike Zimmer even more options when designing his defensive game plans. Now, I can already hear some of you skeptics out there. But your name? Won't Gilmore be too expensive? It's a fair question, but here's the thing. Gilmore's current contract is actually quite reasonable for a player of his caliber. He's set to make $9.9 million in 2023, which is a bargain for a corner of his quality. Even if the Cowboys had to sweeten the pot a bit to get a deal done, it would still be a worthwhile investment for a player who could potentially put this defense over the top. Now, let's talk about the potential impact these two moves could have on the Cowboys' Super Bowl aspirations. Because make no mistake, folks, that's what this is all about. Jerry Jones isn't getting any younger, and he's made it clear that he's all in on bringing another Lombardi trophy to Dallas. According to the latest Vegas odds, the Cowboys are currently sitting at about 21 to win the Super Bowl next season. But if we were to add Chandler Jones and Stefon Gilmore to this roster, those odds would likely skyrocket. That's a defensive unit that could go toe-to-toe with any offense in the league. And when you pair that with an offense featuring Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Tony Pollard, now we're talking about a legitimate Super Bowl contender. But here's the million-dollar question. Can Jerry Jones and the front office actually pull this off? Well, let's break it down. It's tight, but it's doable. And remember, Jerry Jones has always been creative when it comes to structuring contracts. He could easily backload these deals to minimize the 2023 cap hit. Now, let's talk about the competition. Because make no mistake, if these players do become available, the Cowboys won't be the only team interested. For Chandler Jones, we could be looking at teams like the Bills, Ravens, or even a return to the Patriots. For Gilmore, teams like the Eagles, 49ers, or Packers could all be in the mix. But here's where the Cowboys have an advantage. They can offer these players a legitimate shot at a Super Bowl ring. Dallas has one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, and adding these two players could be the final piece of the puzzle. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What do you think about these potential moves? Would Chandler Jones and Stefon Gilmore put the Cowboys over the top? Or are there other areas you think the team should focus on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get a discussion going. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more Cowboys content.